During the height of his leadership, King Solomon ruled the kingdom of Israel with unparalleled wisdom and exemplary justice, earning the admiration and trust of his people. As the legitimate heir of the legendary King David, Solomon was blessed by God with unique understanding, vast prosperity, and an era of peace and stability for the Israelite nation. His reign, which lasted nearly 4 decades, is often celebrated as the golden age of the Israelite monarchy, immortalized by the construction of the monumental temple in Jerusalem, a lasting symbol of the divine covenant between God and the people of Israel. During Solomon's period of governance, Israelite society stood out for its complexity and broad cultural diversity. Jerusalem, the capital of the kingdom, thrived as a vibrant center of trade and cultural exchange, bringing together people from various backgrounds and promoting multicultural coexistence. To ensure peace and order within his territory, political alliances were crucial. Solomon, aware of the importance of these strategic connections, used marriage as a diplomatic mechanism to strengthen ties with neighboring kingdoms. From the outset of his reign, he was committed to preserving the security and well-being of the realm, recognizing that diplomacy was just as essential as military strength to maintain stability and prosperity in Israel. One of the most effective means of strengthening alliances during Solomon's reign was through political marriages, which not only united dynasties but also provided economic and military benefits, ensuring the stability of the region. An emblematic example of this practice is mentioned in 1 Kings 3 verse 1, where Solomon marries the daughter of the Pharaoh of Egypt. This union was not merely a symbolic gesture between two great powers but a calculated tactic to ensure peace and consolidate relations between Israel and Egypt. One of the most prominent figures of that era was Naamah, an Egyptian princess of rare beauty and exceptional intelligence, the daughter of a high-ranking dignitary in the pharaonic court. Raised in the luxurious surroundings of the Egyptian palace, Naamah was educated in the arts, sciences, and spiritual traditions of her people. Her presence was distinguished not only by her beauty but also by the elegance and poise she displayed. The first impression Naamah always left was one of reverence and admiration, something that did not go unnoticed by the wise King Solomon. The first encounter between Solomon and Naamah took place during a diplomatic mission to Egypt, where the young Israeli king was received with the characteristic splendor of the pharaonic court. Awed by the magnificence and cultural sophistication he encountered, Solomon saw in Naamah more than just a political opportunity. He perceived her as a partner who could bring new perspectives to his reign and personal life. On the other hand, Naamah found herself captivated and intrigued by the king of Israel, whose reputation for wisdom and justice had already spread across various nations. Amid sumptuous banquets and formal dialogues, Solomon and Naamah began to know each other on a deeper level. Naamah's sharp intellect and commanding presence captured Solomon's attention, while mutual admiration and respect quickly blossomed between the two. This encounter marked the beginning of a relationship that transcended the boundaries of a mere alliance between two regional powers, bringing with it new challenges and transformations for both sides. The narrative of Solomon and Naamah illustrates how political alliances and personal ties intertwine complexly in the landscape of the ancient Near East. Their union went beyond the relationship between a man and a woman. It was a strategic fusion of cultures, beliefs, and political interests that shaped the future of their peoples and left a profound mark on the history of the region. Marrying Solomon brought a significant turning point in Naamah's life. She had to leave behind the security and comfort of her home in Egypt and embark on a long journey to Jerusalem, filled with uncertainties. This transition was not merely a physical journey but also a substantial emotional shift, signaling her transformation from Egyptian princess to queen in foreign lands. Naamah's departure began on the banks of the Nile, where, in a solemn and emotional ceremony, she bid farewell to her family and friends. A grand royal procession was organized, carrying her personal belongings and valuable offerings destined for Solomon. Naamah traveled in a richly adorned litter, surrounded by an elite guard and a large retinue of servants, reflecting her noble status. As the procession approached Jerusalem, the landscape changed dramatically. The dry desert plains gave way to lush green hills and fertile valleys, marking the arrival in the land of Israel. When the imposing walls of Jerusalem appeared on the horizon, Naamah was filled with a sense of awe and curiosity. The city, with its grand walls and the magnificent Temple of Solomon at its heart, exuded an aura of greatness and prosperity, portraying a vibrant kingdom in full expansion. Upon entering Jerusalem, Naamah was greeted with a reception worthy of royalty. Citizens filled the streets to welcome their new queen, lining the path with flowers and singing songs in her honor. The wedding ceremony was lavish, held in the grand palace of Solomon. This union not only solidified a political pact but also transformed into a celebration of love and renewal. Naamah was formally introduced to the people in the court, following all the rituals and customs of the time, establishing her position alongside the king. Solomon's palace, with its vast courtyards, lush gardens, and richly decorated halls, left a strong impression on Naamah. The grandeur of the place and the complexity of court life represented a new world that she would need to learn to navigate quickly. During the ceremony and subsequent festivities, the poetic words of the Song of Songs echoed through the palace corridors, perhaps expressing the burgeoning love between Solomon and Naamah. As she settled in Jerusalem, Naamah faced the delicate challenge of adapting to a new cultural and religious context. Coming from Egypt, where the worship of multiple gods was deeply rooted, she now found herself in a monotheistic society devoted to the worship of the God of Israel. This transition proved to be a complex task. Naamah had to learn to honor the religious customs of her new home, participating in festivals and rituals that contrasted significantly with those she was accustomed to. The adaptation process for Naamah in Jerusalem was filled with challenges and discoveries as she endeavored to integrate into palace life and the new spiritual reality of Israel. In the palace environment, Naamah was not merely a ceremonial figure, she played a crucial role as one of the consorts of King Solomon. Beyond the formal traditions, Naamah became involved in the everyday activities of the court. Her intelligence and charisma quickly made her a prominent figure, enhancing her influence among the nobles and palace officials. Naamah's arrival brought with it aspects of Egyptian culture, from artistic styles to fashion trends, infusing daily life in Jerusalem with innovation and sophistication. Her presence diversified the court environment and added a touch of refinement to the palace. Over time, the relationship between Naamah and Solomon deepened. Although the king had many wives, as noted in 1 Kings 11 verse 3, which records that he had 700 wives of royal lineage and 300 concubines, Naamah managed to carve out a unique space in the king's heart. The bond between them transcended political interests, evolving into a profound and intellectually stimulating connection. Solomon, recognized for his wisdom, found a Naamah counterpart who challenged and inspired him. The nights in the palace were often filled with deep and philosophical discussions, where Solomon shared his reflections on life, justice, and spirituality. Naamah, in turn, enriched these conversations with her distinct perspectives and personal experiences, providing a mutually enriching exchange. Together, they explored the complexities of power and the challenges of leadership, building a relationship founded on respect and mutual admiration. Naamah's presence in Jerusalem became an emblem of the connection between diverse cultures and distinct beliefs. Despite facing the challenge of adapting to a new faith, she managed to reconcile her Egyptian traditions with the religious rites of Israel. This coexistence of cultures defined her journey, reflecting the complexity of her role and the impact of her presence in the court. Among her most significant contributions was the introduction of cultural aspects from Egypt into Israelite traditions, which enriched the cultural life of the kingdom. Naamah brought forth new artistic expressions, fashion trends, and social practices that quickly captured the interest and curiosity of the nobility and the populace. Sophisticated garments, ornate accessories, and Egyptian architectural influences began to emerge in Jerusalem, illustrating a fusion between the two civilizations. Furthermore, Naamah played a significant role in the political sphere. Her experience in the Egyptian court allowed her to guide Solomon on diplomatic matters, helping to consolidate strategic alliances with other nations. Her ability to navigate the complexities of international diplomacy made her an invaluable resource for the king, who often sought her advice during critical moments. Naamah's insight and acumen were crucial in ensuring the stability and growth of the kingdom, establishing her as a trusted advisor and a key figure in Solomon's court. However, Naamah's presence also unveiled a range of challenges, particularly in the realms of religion and spirituality. Remaining loyal to her roots, she preserved her Egyptian religious practices, which gradually began to influence Solomon. The coexistence of various religious traditions in the palace led to an environment of syncretism. Solomon, already renowned for his wisdom and open-mindedness, began to permit the construction of altars and temples dedicated to the gods of his foreign wives, including the Egyptian deities that Naamah worshipped. This situation is addressed in 1 Kings 11 verse 4, which states that in his old age, Solomon's heart turned away, leading him to follow other gods, influenced by his numerous wives. The religious pluralism during Solomon's reign became a source of controversy and conflict. While he constructed a temple in Jerusalem to honor the God of Israel, he also allowed the worship of foreign deities, a decision that created internal divisions and impacted the religious unity of the kingdom. Naamah, embodying her ancestral faith and religious rituals, represented this intricate fusion of cultures and beliefs. Her presence in the royal palace was a tangible testament to the intersection of different worlds, each bringing its own challenges and riches. The religious syncretism encouraged by Solomon, although initially perceived as an act of acceptance and wisdom, ultimately generated tensions that echoed through generations. Beyond the religious repercussions, Naamah's influence also heightened political tensions. Solomon's favoritism towards his foreign wives, including Naamah, generated resentment among religious and political leaders who viewed this influence as a threat to the identity and sovereignty of Israel. The incorporation of external cultural and religious elements was seen by some as a form of cultural colonization, diluting traditional Israeli practices and customs. The erosion of Solomon's faith had significant consequences. His reputation for wisdom and justice became tainted by his apparent complacency and spiritual deviation. Prophets and religious leaders began to question his decisions, and the unity of the kingdom started to unravel. Solomon himself, recognized for his judgment and leadership, began to show signs of vulnerability and indecision, which affected his ability to govern effectively. Naamah's influence, along with that of other foreign wives, ushered in a period of moral and spiritual decline for the kingdom. This ethical and spiritual vulnerability had lasting repercussions. The death of Solomon marked the end of an era of splendor and prosperity for Israel, but it also signified the beginning of a tumultuous and fragmented period. After 40 years of rule, Solomon passed away and was succeeded by his son, Rehoboam. However, the legacy of his reign, already steeped in external religious and cultural influences, began to reveal its shortcomings more clearly. Rehoboam inherited a kingdom that was already plagued by internal divisions and popular dissatisfaction. The people of Israel, weary of the heavy taxes and forced labor imposed by Solomon to carry out his grand projects, yearned for relief under the new leadership. When Rehoboam, advised by his young counselors, chose to impose even greater burdens on the populace instead of easing their hardships, it resulted in a significant revolt. The kingdom of Israel quickly fragmented. 10 of the 12 tribes rebelled against Rehoboam, forming the northern kingdom known as Israel, under the leadership of Jeroboam, a former official of Solomon. Only the tribes of Judah and Benjamin remained loyal to Rehoboam, constituting the southern kingdom of Judah. This division was catastrophic for the cohesion and strength of a kingdom that had once been united. The negative influence of Naamah and other foreign wives of Solomon, who introduced outside religious practices and fostered harmful idolatry, played a significant role in this fragmentation. The worship of foreign deities weakened the monotheistic faith that had once unified the people of Israel, resulting in internal conflicts that manifested politically. After Solomon's death, with the kingdom divided, both Israel in the north and Judah in the south faced a series of new political and military challenges. The unity that had allowed Solomon to maintain peace and expand his influence had vanished. The kingdom of Israel, in particular, entered a period of instability, undergoing a succession of rulers who often ascended to power through conspiracies and assassinations. The lack of a strong central government left both nations vulnerable to external threats. The political and military vulnerability became evident as foreign powers began to exploit the fragility of the divided kingdoms. The Assyrians and Babylonians, recognizing the opportunity, eventually invaded and conquered these regions. In 722 BC, the kingdom of Israel was devastated by the Assyrians, resulting in the exile of a significant portion of the population and the dispersion of the 10 northern tribes. The kingdom of Judah managed to endure a little longer but also faced constant internal and external challenges. In 586 BC, the Babylonians, led by King Nebuchadnezzar, captured Jerusalem, destroyed the Temple of Solomon, and exiled the Jewish elite to Babylon. This Babylonian exile marked one of the darkest chapters in the history of Israel, symbolizing the complete ruin of the kingdom that Solomon and David had established. The negative influence of Nama, by introducing foreign cults and deities that diverted Solomon and his people from exclusive devotion to the God of Israel, paved the way for these disastrous events. The worship of multiple gods, the political disintegration, and the eventual conquest by foreign powers were, in part, consequences of these influences that undermine the internal cohesion and resilience of the kingdom. Thus, the story of Nama and her impact extends beyond her time, profoundly shaping the destiny of Israel. Her legacy, a blend of cultural enrichment and religious fragmentation, serves as a powerful reminder of the complex interplay between leadership, culture, and faith in the history of a people. The devotion to a single God provided Israel with an identity and a moral strength that, when compromised, led to division and decline. Faith in God not only guided the actions and decisions of leaders but also united the people under a common set of principles and objectives. In times of uncertainty and transformation, this faith offers a solid foundation upon which a just, strong, and cohesive society can be built. If you enjoyed this content, please share this video with friends and family so that more people have the opportunity to learn about the history and values of Christ. Together, we can spread the light of the gospel and make a significant impact in our world. We appreciate your attention and wish for you to receive many blessings with the constant presence of God in your life.